Hi, Susie.
Hey, Dick, how's it going?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is high noon and time to begin. Good afternoon and welcome to the March 26th meeting of the Rotary Club of Brentwood. I am still Keely Hall, and I am still honored to serve as your club president. Thank you again to the Spring Hill Suites for being our host. Please remember to adhere to all the health protocols and all that fun stuff. And I'm looking around the room. Oh, there he is. All right. Mark McFerrin has our invocation. And I'm not sure if anybody knows him, but Alan Treadway is here to lead the pledge and the four-way test. Mark.
Let's pray together. And before we do, just kind of think through who in your life needs prayer. And I'm just going to ask you to say that name out loud. Just say that name as a son, daughter. You know, for me, it's Taylor. Yeah. Yeah. Lord, we pray to you because we believe in you. And your scripture tells us in Isaiah 29, it's not that you can't hear us. It's not that your arm's too short or your ears are plugged up. It's that junk in our life that keeps us from having the right relationship. So I just, again, pause this right now at 12 o'clock on a Friday. Say, please forgive me for this junk that I get off track and do. Put me in a right relationship with you so that when I pray, you hear and you answer. And so we lift up the names that were already said right now. Other members in our club that are hurting, they're grieving, in person, online, wherever if they're not even here, Lord, that we just know there's club members that we come together in a manner of service, and the motivator for us is to do better for mankind, and I do that, and many of us do that out of the love for you. So we come to you and ask you for your guidance, protection, continue healing, remove this virus, continue to get it out, get herd immunity going, and that we can continue to be more productive in your kingdom here in this Williamson County that we get to live in. In Jesus' strong name we pray. Amen.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Now, if you join me in the four-way test, first,
Is it the
second,
church?
third, and fourth.
And now, Jane Covington will introduce our guests, visiting Rotarians, and do Happy Bucks. Jane.
Thank you. I did not see any guests on Zoom. I saw a couple of phone numbers, but if you are a guest on Zoom with us today, will you please let us know that you're here? I'm going to take that as we don't have any. Okay. So we do have a guest here with us in person today. Jason Halsey brought Kaylee Cornett, who is with Hope Clinic for Women, and we're going to ask Kaylee to introduce herself and tell us about Hope Clinic for Women.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Jason, and other people that I know. Hope Clinic has been around for 38 years, and we strive to create a safe place for women who are facing an unplanned pregnancy. Wouldn't it be awesome if she is found with so much love and support that doesn't even consider choosing an abortion? So we have amazing parenting support on both ends of pregnancy before we have women's health care and preventative education for young adults. And on the post side of pregnancy, we also offer professional counseling for all forms of pregnancy loss, postpartum depression, and relationship issues. That's the full gamut of who we are. We serve about 2,500 people a year. in the Davidson, Williamson, and surrounding counties. The exciting thing that I have to share with you, the good news is we actually have a fundraiser coming up on April 18th. So if you are a cigar lover, it's funny that it happens to be at a pregnancy center, but we have an awesome cigar event happening on April 18th. It includes an amazing prime rib and oyster on the half shell dinner. You'll hear a little bit about a Hope Clinic, and of course, there's the silent auction. So if you're interested in learning more about our ministry or that event, I have some cards over here. But thank you guys so much for having me, and I'm excited to get to know all of you.
Thank you, Kaylee. So we're going to move right on to Happy Buck. Oh, we got another guest. Awesome. Zach Benner. He's a he does exist, and he's a guest for now, but soon to be a member. So welcome, Zach. Whoop, whoop. Anywhere you want. Yep. Okay, I see $1 being waved in the air over here. So we're gonna roll on to Happy Buck.
Today's the day for community and major grant requests to be in by 1 o'clock. Got a lot already. Got one here. Get it to me quickly. Yeah.
And then they go
Out of here pretty fast. So if you've got one that you haven't turned in, please. Quick. Thank you.
So and they don't know.
Thank you. We do. I know. I do. I hear a.
I think the Zoom Happy Bucks is over now.
Anybody else happy? Here we go.
A couple of weeks ago, I gave and only put in half a happy buck to just poke fun at him. And he must have gone home and told his 94-year-old mother, because she gave the nicest note I got earlier this week. And so for that, I'm going to put in $5 on her behalf. And Steve, I'm going to bypass you. McCarty had a big birthday this week, so I'm going to put $1 in Hunter.
Steve, have your mom keep the cards and letters going to Bert. Anybody else? Jennifer.
I never do this. I don't know what way to face. But anyway, I've got two quick things to share. One, a friend of mine is running for re-election to the city commission. So if anybody wants a Ray Little yard sign, I have a few in my car. Don't leave without getting them. And I have 2 bumper stickers too. So, and then the other thing is, if anybody's not going to eat their brownie, I'm taking a collection for Alan over here. Just throw it this direction.
Awesome. Anybody else happy? Ellen, you happy about your 5 brownies? Mark is happy. Oh, okay. He's just paying up. Okay. Making good.
And I'm gonna do a virtual Happy Buck from here and say I'm super excited to have a fellow Pepperdine Wave here visiting with us. Yeah. And also Heidelberg alumnus. Also, that's just awesome. Small world. And then Jason Cook snuck in as well, visiting Rotarian / newly proposed member as well.
Anybody else? Guess that's it. Oh, Susie's happy on Zoom.
Yeah, could I do a quick happy buck? I'm happy to have been great friends with Jeff Woodford, who was a member of our club and passed away this week from COVID.
Thank you, Susie, friend of mine.
Hey.
Hey.
We have another Zoom. Happy Zoomer?
Yeah. I'm happy to have lost my bracket office pool really fast because the Hogs are still playing, and that's okay.
Right. We
Think we're
good?
done.
All right. Well, Lewis took my first announcement on my list, which is make sure that you get your grant proposals into him, Susie, or Donna by 1 o'clock today. You have 50 minutes. Go. Also, next announcement. Actually, I'm going to skip the next announcement. We'll save that for next week. We opened officially a vote last week at this time and took that vote primarily by email over the last week, but it is not officially over yet. I said that we would officially close that vote at this meeting. In order to have a quorum for that vote, per our bylaws, we needed at least 1/3 of the total club membership in attendance for the meeting. I'm happy to report that we have nearly double that already respond with their email vote. But again, since the official vote doesn't close until today, all those in attendance who have not yet voted, you now have an opportunity to vote. Please don't vote if you've already voted by email. That will mess up our count. But if you have not yet had an occasion to vote, and you are here in person or on Zoom and would like to cast your vote, I'm about to give you an opportunity to do so right now. But first, I'm going to remind you what that vote specifically was, if I can find it on my written stuff. Well, I don't have the written stuff, as it turns out, so we're just going to say this was to approve the inclusive playground grant of $75,000 in 2 annual installments of $37,500 each, beginning this year and carrying over to next year. So BRCCF would be granting $75,000 to the City of Brentwood's Inclusive Playground Project. That did require, because it's more than $20,000, that did require a vote of entire club membership and does require a quorum to do so. We do have a quorum, but we need to finish our vote. So all in favor who have not already voted, please signify your I vote now by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 additional I votes in person. Any additional on Zoom? You've got, are you the 4th? Okay, so 5. All right, great. 5 additional I votes by Zoom. I mean in person and or Zoom. And then anybody who has not already had an occasion to vote and desires to vote in the nay against this proposal, please signify that vote now by raising your hand either in person or on Zoom. Anyone opposed? No additional nay. So I'm happy to report that we do have a quorum, more than a quorum, double a quorum actually, and the vote is unanimous in favor. There were no nay votes. The motion passes. The grant is approved. Yay! And now I'll technically adjourn the official club business portion of our meeting. Ding. Okay. But we continue on with our regularly scheduled meeting. So you may have noticed at this point, if you're here in person, and may even have noticed if you're here on Zoom, that we don't have any high schoolers here today. I told you on Wednesday in my reflections article that it was one of my favorite meetings of the year because the high schoolers would come here and they would do their 4-way test speech competition and we would get to judge them, and one would go on to the district competition and they'd win prizes and all sorts of fun stuff. And that's not going to happen today. You know, it's yet another thing that we like to blame on COVID, but legitimately, ultimately, the reason that they're not here today is because of COVID. They're not meeting in person. There were some communication difficulties getting out to the students. We had nobody that felt comfortable presenting a speech in person today. And so you get me. So it's actually, yes, thank you, Drew. Appreciate that so much. No, I'm going to take this occasion actually to kind of present to you a State of the Union speech, a State of the Club speech. Now, to help me feel comfortable, what I'm going to need is half of the room, every random 7 seconds, to stand up and applaud for like 30 minutes, constant. And the other half to make really annoyed faces at that half. I'm really not going to need that, but also I'm going to need Dale and Tom and Sid to come up here and be my security detail. I'm really not going to need that either. But I am going to give a State of the Club speech. It is not going to be in a four-way test format, but I do think the four-way test is woven through it, like we try to do with everything that we do here. So here goes, the state of our club. A good friend of mine posted this message on his social media account earlier this week. 1 year ago, when the pandemic hit, I went into emergency mode in my personal and professional life. Like most of us, I did what had to be done to adjust, restructure, and change. It has been exhausting. Only now am I even able to begin evaluating and assessing what I have had to put off due to the demands of being in emergency mode. The thought of re-engaging some neglected things is daunting. This is tough. Anyone else assessing such things? That's the quote from my friend. That anyone else question has to be rhetorical. The truth is, everybody went into emergency mode last year at this time. Almost a year to the date today was when we stopped meeting in person out of emergency reasons. We went online to Zoom only. We started canceling events. Sarah Johnson was the president at the time, bless her, but she had to make some excruciating decisions along with our board. Canceling Pancake Day for the first time since its inception. Canceling the installation banquet. Again, canceling our in-person meetings. It was difficult. It was hard. Hospitals, small business owners, restaurants, hotels, grocery stores, banks, toilet paper manufacturers, all had to go into emergency mode. Local governments, first responders, school districts, state governments, federal governments, all of them on the planet had to go into emergency mode. We were forced into it. We didn't want to go, but we were forced into emergency mode. And yes, even civic organizations, including Rotary clubs, went into emergency mode as well. 1 year into this health, economic, and educational crisis, how are we as a club doing? How have we navigated this shift into emergency mode? What have been our successes? What have been our failures? What comes next for us? Will we survive? Or perhaps might we even thrive? Will we continue to find ways to serve? Or perhaps might we take our levels of service to new heights of creativity previously unreached? The truth is, the members of this club are among the most dedicated, generous, resilient people I know. And it's because of the strength of character amongst our members that I can say, in truth, that despite the emergency maneuvers of the past 12 months, the state of this club is strong. Without question, overall attendance has been down. Even when we combine Zoom and in-person attendance, we're still tracking at about 60% of our previous attendance before COVID hit. Part of that, I think, is because, as previously mentioned, every single one of us went into some degree of emergency mode a year ago. And we're coming out of that mode at different times and at different paces because we're all different people and all of our situations are different. Some of us are very much still in emergency mode, and that's understandable. We've all been impacted by this, but not all of us have been impacted in the same ways. So of course, our recovery time and methods will be different. Because of that awareness, we've resisted reinstating the previous attendant requirement up through this quarter, even though Zoom technology enables us to join from our socially distanced living rooms. But Zoom is not the same, and we get it. I'm going to pause for a minute, and I'm going to remember one episode from this last week. We were on vacation, and we were at the beach, but we had some weather, so it was raining outside. So my wife and I were sitting on the couch in our little condo and kind of trying to figure out this TV that we're not familiar with because we're old. And we're kind of thumbing through, and we like historical dramas that kind of retell historical events. And so we happened on one. We used to watch this show called Turn that was about the American Revolution and Washington's secret 6 spies. And we loved it. And so we went on the suggested items like this. And there was one called Rebellion. We're like, oh, that sounds good. We're going to watch Rebellion. It's about the Irish Rebellion in 1916. So we start watching the show. Number one, they're speaking in a real deep Irish brogue accent. And number two, we don't know anything about the Irish Rebellion of 1916. So we're confused and we don't know the characters. And about 20 minutes into this episode of this show, we realize we're not watching the first episode of the show. We somehow joined in the middle of the series, and we tried to figure out what was going on, who the characters were, what the plot was, what the history was, and we couldn't. It was terribly frustrating, terribly confusing, and not at all engaging. We stopped. I bring that up because that's what so many members of our club have been experiencing over the past 12 months. If you're a newer member and you joined just prior to COVID hitting, you didn't get a chance to develop relationships. You didn't get a chance to know the cast, to know the history, to know the plot. And so what you've been forced to do for 12 months is join a television show already in progress. They're sitting on their couches. They're watching characters interact whom they don't know, recounting stories that they didn't experience, talking about events they've never been to. That's got to be frustrating. It's got to be the opposite of engaging. So yeah, attendance is down. People aren't coming in person because they're not comfortable coming in person, a lot of them. People aren't joining by Zoom even though it's convenient because what is there for them? And people aren't joining because we've just plain gotten out of the habit. We've been in emergency mode. We've gotten out of our regular routine. We had to. It's okay that attendance is down. It's to be expected. And now, because I've written this speech in the last 24 hours, I've lost my place. Okay. But here's the thing. None of us joined this club primarily because we wanted to sit every week in a room full of 75 people minimum and have lunch. Numbers didn't matter to us when we joined this club. We joined this club because we wanted to be able to meet new people. We joined this club because we wanted to develop long-term relationships. We joined this club because we like service. We joined this club because we wanted to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We joined this club because we saw the good it did in our community and in our world, and we wanted to join in the fun. And those things, those reasons have weathered this storm. They've weathered the emergency mode of this pandemic and may actually be coming out of the other side even stronger than before. Last March, even as we were right in the heart of lockdown, Larry Kane rallied the BRCCF board members to find ways that we could help the March 2020 tornado victims. We wound up identifying 3 different organizations in Nashville, Mount Juliet, and Cookeville and donated a total of $30,000 to give aid to tornado victims in those areas. $30,000. There was a time when $30,000 would have been the entire amount of the budget for annual giving from the BRCCF. But thanks to Larry and his team and this club, we expect to raise 3 times that in just this year's golf tournament alone. And add that to the generous funds that you all donate personally to our annual fund drive. And the BRCCF is now at the point where we expect to give out over $120,000 annually every year. We did that last year. We're on pace to exceed that this year. And honestly, we still have money on reserve in the bank that we really don't even need to retain. The truth is, the state of this club's giving power is stronger than it has ever been. And it's getting stronger. And let's talk for a second about that playground project we just approved. Sarah Johnson and her team are meeting what seems like daily with the city and key leaders across the area to build $1 million inclusive playground, or two, that will allow kids of all abilities to play together. That's an asset that Brentwood has never had before, but will have now, largely because of the Rotary Club of Brentwood. The state of our club's service to our community is strong, and it's getting stronger. And then there's folks like Devin McClendon and Linus Sugis and Jack Masari, who have sacrificed incalculable hours of their time over the past 12 months and much longer, frankly, to help us work through all kinds of technological issues that have not just enabled us to survive this crazy COVID environment, but will set us up to thrive going forward. With Jack's expertise and efforts, we've been able to have business meeting votes with easy quorums that made things like that playground donation possible. And with Devin and Linus's expertise and efforts, we'll now have the ability to have a much better speaker program experience for years to come. Whether we're joining in the traditional way here or in person or on Zoom virtually, we'll all have a quality meeting experience thanks to their dedication. The state of the quality of this club's presentation and communication abilities is strong and getting stronger. And finally, let's talk about this wave of new members we're getting all of a sudden. Zach, I'm looking at you. I'm not sure exactly what's attracting them. That's it. No, I'm not sure what's exactly attracting them, but we are voting on 2 more member proposals even today after this meeting, board members. That's a warning to you. We do need to meet after this. The club continues to be attractive to new people, interesting people, fun people. We're growing younger. We're growing less male heavy. We're not quite as monochromatic as we once were. These are all great things. These are all things that will infuse our club with new energy, with interesting conversation, with innovative new ways to serve. The new blood that is coursing through this club's veins is strong, and it's growing stronger. But none of this means we don't have problems yet to face and solutions yet to discover. Through Drew Rogers and Patrick Wright's tireless efforts as treasurers of this club, we've been able to navigate these past 12 months without enduring significant financial hardship. Early on, we tried to anticipate our club members' coming financial strains and actually eliminated quarterly dues altogether when the pandemic first struck. Then, for the next 3 quarters in a row, we reduced them from the regular $275 a quarter to $165. This $165 enabled us to operate the basic functions of the club. It allowed us to keep paying the non-reduced Rotary International and district dues. It allowed us to keep paying Donna's part-time salary without reducing it. And it allowed us to keep hosting meetings, even once we started back in person and had to start providing meals without losing money as a club. But now, as we look at the vaccine rates climbing pretty quickly and the case rates reduced back to tolerable levels, our board of directors is looking to anticipate gradually growing attendance numbers, which means rising weekly costs associated with meals and potentially meeting space, as we're still going to be without the ability to meet at the Barton Center for at least the near future. In that anticipation, the board has determined that we do need to start gradually raising dues back to where they were pre-pandemic. We'll be phasing that back in, however. Starting April 1st, regular quarterly dues will go up by $35 from last quarter to $200 even. Then the following quarter, starting July 1st, we'll raise them back to the original $275 per quarter rate. We believe that this is fair to all concerned. It keeps the club afloat as we anticipate recovering our attendance numbers and reinstituting events like the anniversary banquet and others. We understand, though, again, that not everyone's life has snapped back to normal. Some may still be in a situation where phasing back to normal on quarterly dues at this time would cause them a financial hardship. If that's the case, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or any one of our board members and let us know. We'd like to find a way to work through that with you, if at all possible. Another change we made a year ago was that we suspended all attendance requirements and actually stopped keeping an official record of attendance at all, essentially giving every member perfect attendance for the past 12 months, no matter what. Hey, woo, congratulations. But of course, it makes it pretty difficult to build goodwill and better friendships within the club when you're not in the habit of seeing or talking with other people within the club. And given the significant improvements in current health situation, as well as the ability with this facility and brown bags boxed lunches, which are super yummy, by the way, and the continued ability to join by Zoom, we feel that the time is right to reinstitute the 60% attendance policy. So beginning April 1st, we're going back to the method of taking attendance in person by badge inventory, and we'll be more focused on crediting those in attendance live on Zoom with their attendance as well. Now, we also know that many more have turned to watching replays of the meetings via Linus's online social media posts than before. That will still count as a makeup, but we do need you. I'm looking at you who are now watching me on replay. Happy Tuesday afternoon to you. We do need you to actually inform us, Donna, just like before, that you need to receive a makeup for watching the replay or for attending any other meeting of Rotarians at any other time, of course. While going back to these original policies at this particular time may not be technically beneficial for every single individual, that's just the truth and reality of the situation. We as a board do believe that it is the most beneficial way to move forward for the group collective. We miss each other. And the board feels it's time to begin gently nudging our members that we've been missing so much to get back into the regular routine of meeting together, in person for some and virtually for others, but together in one format or another. So that's how I see the current state of this club. And that's how I see us moving forward from here to ensure the Rotary Club of Brentwood of our future remains as healthy and as strong as the Rotary Club of Brentwood of our past and of our present. 1 year ago, when the pandemic hit, we as a club went into emergency mode in our corporate and personal lives. Like most organizations and individuals, we did what had to be done to adjust, restructure, and change. It has been exhausting. Only now are we even able to begin evaluating and assessing what we've had to put off due to the demands of being in emergency mode. The thought of re-engaging some neglected things is daunting. This is tough, but this is also exciting. Our club is strong today, and it is growing stronger. And we get to be a part of what it is to become. Is anyone else excited about such things? Now's where you stand up and applaud. All right, we do have a few minutes for question and answer. Any questions? No, we don't have 30 minutes because some of us have a meeting to be at after this.
Hey, Keely, excellent speech. I want to say one thing real quick. The reason I'm here today is because you all are here. I love this hybrid format. I love the chance to see people in person. That's so critical, and I want to compliment you, the board, and everybody that's made that decision. It's a hard decision to make. This is the best way to do it, and it's good to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Any other questions, comments, criticisms? Most embarrassing moments? Sana.
Keely, great speech, but it's Warren Bryant's birthday today. So I thought I'd have to embarrass him a little.
Warren. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Warren. Happy birthday to you.
For those of us who do not know what happened to the speech contest? Is it rescheduled at any specific time?
So part of the issue is that they have not been meeting together. We typically do have the speech students from Brentwood High School are our primary competitors for that contest. Anybody is invited to participate in it, but those are the stalwarts that come every year. They've not been meeting in person this year, so there is not going to be an occasion to bring them in during this academic year, but we will definitely have them back once they're back in session next academic year. Good question. Thanks for asking. Larry's doing some sort of a competitive cheer.
No, this is one of those things when you say anything else for the good of Rotary, and that's what I would go like this.
Oh, that's coming later.
Well, I'll do it now. We've got their
Okay,
attention.
all right.
If you're coming to this meeting, please RSVP. Today, we have 10 folks who did not RSVP. Now let's do the math. I always get about 5 extra lunches because I know there's going to be a group that's not going to do it. I didn't get 10 extra lunches. I get 5. Thank goodness 4 people who were supposed to come did not come. So a new member, a current member, and our secretary did not get lunch today. And they all very graciously said, no, I'm fine. I don't need it. I'm going to die, blah, blah, blah. But that's not right. So please, if you're coming to this meeting, fill out Jack's form online. It takes 30 seconds. And make sure we'll always have enough food. And I always get 4 or 5 meals more than what people say. And it always works. Last week we had some left over, but this was a disaster today. So let's don't let that happen again, please. Please RSVP if you're coming to the meeting.
3 people went without meals today so that other people could eat. That is service above self. The state of our club is strong. What else? Alan does have extra brownies for those that went without food.
I tell you what, am I on? Yeah, I should have done this in happy bucks, but I didn't have $1, so this is my way around it. You know, it's something that you said earlier, and I meant to say this a long time ago, but Devin and Linus, how much work they put into this, but I don't believe you mentioned Larry. But I'll tell you what, I had to go to my car last week, and I decided I need to go stop by the restroom. So I came back in the entrance, and they were loading equipment. It never dawns on us how much stuff is set up prior to and broken down afterwards, and how backbreaking that is, that heavy equipment and all that. So they're almost like our roadies, you know, but
the roadie
just
crew,
one of many things. So anyway, here you go.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alan. All right. Oh, Devin has one. Well, you guys are roadies. You guys that do all the equipment setup, you're roadies. We are your groupies. How about that? Any other questions, comments? Yes, Mark.
Does it matter how many in our club, you know, that herd immunity thing? Does it matter to kind of track how many of us got the vaccine or have had it? And like I found out I had it and didn't know it because I gave blood like 6 weeks ago, and they called and said, hey, you got the antibodies.
Sweet.
How did I get that? And they said, you had it. So I'm one of those guys that never had any symptoms, but grateful. So I don't know if we keep track of it, but I think it might help with the attendance and people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to consider. I don't know. I don't necessarily even want to consider any implications with knowing each other's health status and stuff like that. But there is some relevance to that. So that's a good point. We'll look into that. Thank you, Mark. What else? All right. Well, thank me for speaking today. Reminder for some closing announcements. We do have a board of directors meeting immediately following this one. It will take 2 minutes, but we do need to vote on a couple of proposed members. If you are joining by Zoom and you are a board member, please hang on Zoom. If you're joining by phone, please hang on phone. We're going to try to get to a quorum for board members. If we can't today, then we'll do an e-vote because we can do that now. Pancake grants. You have 19 minutes to still get those grant proposals in to Lewis, Susie, or Donna. And please RSVP on Jack's next email, whether you're going to be here. And really, honestly, it will be beneficial to you, even if you're not going to be here on Zoom and you're going to join by Zoom. Go ahead and tell us you're joining by Zoom so we can have a record of that too. But tell us if you're going to be in attendance one way or the other when Jack sends that out. Oh, good point. Thank you, sir. Yes, we are not meeting next week, so you can RSVP. Alan will bring the brownies, but you will not have an official Rotary Club meeting next week. It is Good Friday, and we do not meet next week. It does make one wonder what's in Alan's brownies, but that's neither here nor there. Any other closing announcements for the good of the club before we adjourn? 18 minutes early, you are welcome. Any others? No? Okay. Then please, what's my tagline? Oh yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep serving. We're adjourned.